Okay, welcome back to the channel, guys. It's 2021 and we have a brand new watch here. It's a Zelos Blacktip Skindiver. It's been sent in to us. We don't have to send it back, so we're going to be reviewing this today. But firstly, let me say Happy New Year to everybody. Welcome back. Last year we finished in December on a video with an Omega, the Omega Planet Ocean, and that's Omega in the Greek alphabet is the last letter of the Greek alphabet. The English alphabet basically finishes with a Z. We're going to be starting 2021 with a Zelos, and this Zelos has grown up. It's basically a more mature Zelos than I've seen, and not only from what I've seen on other reviews, from what their offerings have been in the past, but also from what I had. I had the Frost titanium version on this channel. That was the first Zelos that I've ever reviewed, and this is the second, and I'll tell you what, it's a completely different watch. It's a completely more mature, more refined, a nicer finish, a beautiful design, a fantastic case shape, very vintage inspired, very vintage appeal. So we're going to get stuck into this watch and see what I think about it. For me, the first words as first impression that comes to mind is it's smaller, it's slimmer, it's more petite, it's a more elegant, refined looking watch, and I like it when a manufacturer does that. It shows me that they're growing, they're thinking outside the square, they're trying to develop something that's a lot more user-friendly, but also a nicer experience. So, but look, let's get on to this watch. It basically has a Miyota 9015 automatic movement. It has a 42-hour power reserve. This is why they can keep the actual case relatively slim, which is quite nice. The watch itself is running beautifully. I've actually had this on the time graph, and it's face up, it's basically +2 seconds per day. It doesn't deviate, you know, left, right, and so forth. So a really nice movement in this, robust, strong, a workhorse. So, but the watch itself, the diameter of the watch, the case diameter and specs and so forth, come in at 41mm case diameter, with a case height at 12mm, and that's the top of the dome sapphire crystal. It's actually 11.5, but there's a 0.5mm dome, which is really subtle, but it's nice to look at. The lug to lug distance I'm measuring at 47.5mm and a lug width of 20mm. But the watch itself sits beautifully on the wrist, and I'll show you guys a wrist shot. Okay, have a look at that. So that's what it sits like on my 7-inch wrist, and it's perfect. It sits absolutely beautiful. It's really nice. It's not too high. The bracelet is absolutely spectacular. The way that this thing fits is amazing. So, you know, when I say that Zelos has grown up, they've always been offering some really comfortable bracelets, but this thing is basically a level up. So we'll speak about that in a second. But as you can see, the actual watch itself, the 47.5mm lug to lug distance is beautiful. I've got a 7-inch wrist, 60mm width from here to here, so it's sitting in nicely. The height, like I said, it's really subtle. At 11.5mm, it's sitting perfect. I can wear this as a daily watch. I can wear this basically anywhere. So, but I like this colorway. This particular one, if you have a look at it, it's called the Desert Sand, and it's slightly different. It's obviously more sort of a vintage. You know, you got your faux patina and so forth, but the whole thing seems to be just neutral. The whole watch, the whole colorway seems to be very neutral. They've got basically different colors from vintage black, frost, desert sand, teal, and the crimson red. So I believe the crimson red is actually sold out at the moment, but this is the thing with these types of watches, because they offer such great value for money, they sell out quick. They sell out really quickly, and this is no different. This particular one is actually one of the really nicer ones that I've seen. I mean, I'm very impressed with the case shape, the way that the satin and the high polished bevel, the entire length of the case, both top and bottom. So they've done something a little bit different here. They've gone into a little bit more attention to detail with this particular watch, and that's nice, and that's really nice. So, but if you notice on the side profile here, they also offer drilled lugs. So for strap changes, not an issue, but they've actually gone a level above that. They've even given you quick release spring bars. So very easy to get the solid end links off this particular watch. I just think they've thought this through. They've thought this really through. So, but getting onto that bracelet, guys, that bracelet is absolutely spectacular. As you can see, it's a H-link bracelet, quick release solid end links all the way through, with basically screw, where are we? There we are, screw links. So extremely easy. I had to take out 7 links to adjust this for my wrist, but extremely easy. Screwdriver, unscrew, put the next one on, screw it back on, super quick. super quick. So, but a beautifully milled clasp, very smooth, very finesse experience there, but the clasp itself is what I like. It's a beautiful smooth clasp, it's thin, but it's also got your toolless on the fly micro adjustment. So as you can see, I'll pull that out. I've got about 9 or 10 mil of adjustment. So as my hand swells throughout the day, as you can see there, without having to do anything, I can adjust this on the fly. And I think a lot of manufacturers, especially major brands, can take lessons from micro brands like this. And you know what? I don't even call this a micro brand anymore. These guys are basically got it right. They've got a formula that works. They're developing watches, you know, and the proof is in the pudding, guys. They're selling out like hotcakes. So, but look, getting back onto the watch itself, like I said, it's got a domed sapphire crystal. It's the most subtle of dome with AR coating on it. It's really doing a great job. But the bezel itself, the bezel insert on this particular watch is also sapphire. So as you can see, all I've got is like a glass finish at the front. So I don't know if the video is going to do this justice, but I've basically got a glass look on the front end of this watch, and being a sort of a silvery sandy color, it's nice, it's different, it's very different, very neutral colors on this particular color on this watch, which is nice. Speaking of the bezel itself, the bezel is loomed at the top on the pip, yeah, single pip. So I'll give you guys a look at the action of this particular bezel. That is really crisp, really precise, really positive. Yeah, I like it, and it's accurate. Let's get to the top. Bang, away you go. So just the right amount of firmness. I think, like I said, they've got it right. The formula in which they're making these watches, and this particular one seems to be a level up. So now, speaking of the bezel itself seems to be slightly bigger, extending past the case dimension itself. So the bezel I'm measuring at 41, but the case from there to there, without the actual crown, I'm measuring at basically 40 mil. So it's a 40 mil watch case, but a 41 mil bezel, which it's actually a plus because I like that, because you can grip the bezel really easily, which is great. So, but in saying that, the crown itself is, for me, it's relatively small. I'm used to slightly bigger crowns. You've got a signed screw down crown with a loom infilling. The crown itself, look, it being smaller, it does seem to follow the vintage hue and vintage appeal of the design, which I like. But again, some people might find it a little bit small, especially with the bezel sticking out a bit. You might struggle to get your fingers under there. But let's have a look at the crown. One click, it pops out. 2 clicks, we hack the movement. So as you can see, the second hand stops. We can adjust the time to wherever we want. Click it back in, second hand starts. 1 click, we can adjust the date. There you go, 7th, 8th, 9th, so forth. And we can just lock it in and screw it back down. So the action itself is very, very smooth. That Miyota 9105 is wonderful. It's doing, like I said, it's a workhorse. It's tried and tested and proven. Overall, the watch is a very, very nice tool watch. It's a no-nonsense tool watch, and it's a pretty one at that. The case back, as you can see, is a solid case back with a black tip shark. As you can see, it's wonderful, very toolish, very usable. The dial itself is a beautiful textured dial, and there's a couple of things that I actually like about this. Firstly, the logo, and as you can see over here, black tip and 200 meters, 600 feet and so forth. That seems to disappear, which I like. It's more understated. So at certain light, certain angles, you can see it, but at certain light angles, it seems to just disappear, you know, into the actual dial, which that's lovely. That's wonderful. To me, that's really, really nice. The Z for the Zelos itself, it's in black. It seems to match the rest of the dial, which is nice. Applied markers, very sharp, very nicely polished. There's a dual loom on this particular watch. You've basically got 2 types of loom. You've got BGW9, which is in blue, and C3, basically, which is the green. So I'll give you guys a loom shot while we're at it. So as you can see there, the loom is quite clean. Zelos is also known for their loom. They do a great job with legibility there. So this one here, not letting you down whatsoever. So that's a big plus. But with all watches, guys, no watch is perfect, and all watches have shortfalls. And for me, this particular watch, I'll give you the likes and I'll give you the dislikes. And at the moment, there's a lot more likes than there are dislikes, and the likes are very simple. You've got a beautiful, mild, understated looking colorway. It really blends in. It's different. You know, as soon as I opened the package on this and I looked at it, I thought, I was sort of neither here nor there. I'm a very, I like it either extreme black or white watches, you know, cream dials or dark grays or blacks and so forth. This is an in between, and I wasn't convinced. So I sized it up, I put it on my wrist, I've been wearing it, and I'll tell you what, after looking down at my wrist a couple of times in different lighting situations, I'm really liking this. It's understated, guys. It really is. It's an amazing looking watch that it's not screaming and shouting saying, hey, look at me, which is great, but it is a very, very capable tool watch. Now, the bezel action, fantastic. The bezel action, a lot of major companies can take lessons from a watch like this. Perfect. So no backplay whatsoever, spot on, crisp, sharp, positive, you can't go wrong. The amazing bracelet on this is, you know, again, at this price point, guys, second to none. You know, you're extremely comfortable, really well made, you know, quick release solid end links, you're beautifully milled clasp, fantastic on the fly, you know, adjustment without any tools, an extra 10 mil or so, away you go. So I can't fault this bracelet, it's wonderful, I really like that. The size of the watch, I'm very, very keen on. The size, it being a 40 mil or 41 mil with that bezel. You know, it's a 11.5 mil thickness, or as I say, 12 mil with the actual sapphire. Sits great, you know, sits wonderful on the wrist. The design, overall, I'm really impressed. Like what they've done with the profile and how the lugs are turned down. A vintage sort of a bezel, which is, you know, sitting up, easy to grab. They've done a great job. They've thought this through. So I think this particular watch is going to appeal to a vast audience, guys. And lastly, what I like is also the drilled lugs. I think you didn't need drilled lugs on a watch like this. You know, they're offering you quick release end links and so forth, which is great. But you want to put a sort of a NATO style or a seatbelt style strap, a leather strap, a rubber strap. You basically put your tool in there, remove the spring bar, away you go. So, you know, it's a very usable watch. It's a very, very usable watch, and I like that. But like I said, guys, not every watch is perfect. What are the dislikes of this watch? Well, firstly, like I said before, the crown. The crown itself, for me, I find it's a little bit small. That can pose a negative to certain people. I have certain watches which do feature small crowns like this. I've gotten used to using them, but that's just something that I've observed, and I thought I'll tell you guys. Again, it is sticking to the vintage style of watch. It's how you take it. For me, it's just an observation. I just thought I'd share that. And secondly, probably one of the other negatives I see of these watches, they sell out too quickly. You know, Zelos makes a really nice watch, and they go so quickly. Some of the reviews that I saw in the past, oh gee, I want one of those, and gone, sold out. And I thought that's a shame, you know, because I don't know whether they should basically stick with certain models and just say, look, we'll produce more. Obviously there's a demand, produce more, but they've got a formula. It seems to be working for them. Who am I to sort of, you know, input into their business model? But look, the watch itself is lovely. I definitely like this. I really like this. It is subjective, guys. Like I said, there's different colorways. This particular one is the desert sand. At the time of this video, the crimson red is fully sold out. There's, like I said, the teal, the frost, and the vintage black. To me, this is the most visually pleasing one. The vintage black is probably more standard safe. It's one of those watches that, you know, we're used to looking at that colorway. This is different. For me, this is different. And in morning light and in evening light, I'm looking at this in daylight and so forth. It's changing its character. Having a sapphire bezel insert, it's changing its sapphire, being very bright and silvery. It also goes down to a slightly more sandy color. So I like the character of this watch, which is lovely. But I'll show you guys also what Zelos normally comes with. You've got your watch case here, which is basically a nice wooden box. Let's open her up. And you've got your watch roll. It's a leather watch roll, as you can see here. Very nice. You've got your, let's just pull this out. You've got your warranty card, as well as, they're the links that I had to take out. So as you can see, 7 independent links. And look, like I said, I think value for money, you really can't go wrong with a watch like this. That's why people that are in the know, they're buying them. and they are selling out. So, but guys, look, I hope you enjoyed that. We started off the year with a Zelos. And hopefully we have a good year this year, better than we did in 2020, and let's just all enjoy the rest of whatever holidays we do have, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next review. Thanks again. We'll see you all in the next one.